It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Good morning. Welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News on this, the 13th day of June, and this show is pre-recorded, folks. The lead story this morning, Royal Caribbean plans to add StarLink. That's something a lot of us have been screaming about this whole time. Glad to see some cruise lines heading in that direction. Today, folks, is National Sewing Machine Day. I don't sew, so I can't be much a participant in today's festivities. If you know anything about sewing, go sew something. National Sewing Machine Day. I still wonder who writes these things. Cruise ship sailing today from North American ports. From Boston, you got the American Constitution. Down in Jacksonville, the Carnival Elation. Port Canaveral, Carnival Liberty, Independence of the Seas, and Mariner of the Seas. In West Palm Beach, Margaritaville at Sea Paradise. Down in Miami, Norwegian Sky, Carnival Conquest, Freedom of the Seas, and the Carnival Sunrise. Up in Tampa, the Carnival Paradise. In New Orleans, Carnival Valor gets underway. Out in Long Beach, Carnival Radiance. In San Pedro, the Navigator of the Seas. Up in Seattle, Quantum of the Seas, Norwegian Jewel, Disney Wonder, and Road Amundsen all say, oh, I take that back. Quantum of the Seas sails from Seattle. Nordam has land-based packages from Seattle. From Vancouver, Norwegian Jewel sails, as well as Disney Wonder and Road Amundsen. And there's also some land packages for the Norwegian Jewel from Vancouver. In Juneau, the American Constellation sails. In Anchorage, you've got land packages from Celebrity Millennium, Koningsdam, and Royal Princess. And in Fairbanks, from Celebrity Millennium and Royal Princess land packages as well. All right, in addition to our lead story, Royal Caribbean plans to add StarLink. We also got to talk about some crew restrictions on the MSC Seaside. And TKMS acquires MV Werften. If you're listening via the podcast, welcome aboard. You can always access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net. It's normally posted within minutes of the end of the broadcast, or you can always access it from any of the places that you normally get your podcast from. All the big guys, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Pandora, all of them. Just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and the big fat travel guy will pop up. And as always, in the description of the podcast, you can get the link to the video feed for any time that we share some pictures like I'm getting ready to do now, that you might want to jump over just to take a look at them rather than just purely listening to the podcast. All right, we always try to follow what some of the Chillie Cruises family is doing worldwide. Gretchen and Fred are on the Regal Princess. That's over there in the Western Mediterranean right now, as a matter of fact, in Gibraltar. And Fred, which seems to be one of his favorite pastimes, had a beer. That's Fred. And this picture kind of fascinated me. And I think Gretchen maybe was thinking about trying to smuggle this one in her suitcase to bring home for the grandkids. But anyway, it seems to me that the monkey is in the freedom side of things. and Gretchen and Fred are behind the bars. That monkey looks like he's free to take off and go down there to the city below. Not so sure about that. Anyway, this is in the Gibraltar area. So, and then looking good, y'all. Looking really good. All right, and today is a major day for our buddy Bethany Bartley. She's, of course, in Amsterdam, and today is the 50th birthday. And she wears a shirt. Hello, 50. So, happy birthday to Bethany. And this morning she had breakfast and looked out at Amsterdam, one of the river ships going by there. Yesterday she did a couple excursions. They went to a cheese place and to a place that makes wooden shoes. And then she got back on the ship and she said it felt like she'd been eating all day yesterday. Because, they had that big, middle of the day Sunday brunch. So she decided just to go up to the living room and have a little tapas and wine and skip dinner last night. So that's what she did. And then there were some festivities during the evening. This is the Pursuit Band. Of course, she's on the Azamara Pursuit. And it's ABBA night. That would be one that I would enjoy. I've always liked ABBA. So I can't get up and dance anymore, folks, but I would have enjoyed the music. And then Bethany got to spend some time with the upper level folks there. The gentleman over here on the far right, who looks way too young for that, that's the captain. So just thought I'd point that one out. And then my buddy Rochelle is in Cassis, France, which is an interesting little village. And she got to walk the cliffs above Cassis, which are the highest cliffs in Europe. And as you can see, when you say walk the cliffs, I mean, you literally are walking the cliffs. And there is beach down below. So that's my buddy Rochelle Salerno. And she's been over there. Wow, she's been in Europe now for a month, close to it. So, all right, folks, I'll be back with today's news right after a word from one of our network sponsors. There's not a great deal in the news today. Of course, the main story is Royal Caribbean is looking to adopt SpaceX next generation high-speed satellite internet system, StarLink, on board ships. StarLink is a high-speed broadband internet service that is generated from SpaceX, connects to the constellation Low Earth Orbit. It's called LEO. SpaceX intends to provide affordable internet with sustainable speeds anywhere in the world. SpaceX is primarily intended for Starlink mobile services to be available for airplanes, ships, large trucks, and similar vessels. Royal Caribbean revealed its partnership with SpaceX in a submission to the Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, on Friday, which has to approve this. Bringing Starlink to Royal Caribbean ships will increase the Wi-Fi speeds that cruise visitors have access from 3.5 Mbps to 50 to 250 Mbps. That's quite an increase. SpaceX has not yet received general FCC approval to use StarLink on moving vehicles. In the submission, Royal Caribbean also called on the FCC to speed up the approval of the license for SpaceX. Royal Caribbean said, "We believe our work with SpaceX, the first of its kind in the cruise industry, will set the standard for other cruise operators and will mean a leap in terms of guest experience and business operations while at sea. For this reason, we are eager to advocate for new market entrants to drive a marketplace innovation steep change." Internet on cruise ships, as you all know that have cruised, has been sketchy at best and at times terrible. Same thing with the train. My 8 days that I spent on the train recently, Starlink would change all that. So, and apparently affordable. So I'm definitely hoping that this works. Of course, SpaceX CEO Elon Musk said that the Starlink would achieve maritime coverage by mid-2022. Well, it's mid-2022. So come on, FCC, let's get this done so we can get it on these cruise ships. Boy, what a difference that would make. All right, due to an increase in COVID cases on board the cruise ship MSC Seaside. Now, don't confuse Seaside with Seashore. That's the one sailing over here on this side of the pond. Seaside's over in Western Mediterranean. MSC Cruises is revoking some of the crew privileges and access to public areas. The company is restoring the possibility to disembark crew towards ashore facilities in order to contain the number of positive cases on board within limits that can be accessible by different port authorities. Part of the rules, folks, says that you're only allowed so many cases on board. It's a percentage thing, it's a numbers thing. And if you've got a lot of cases coming from crew, that can artificially increase the numbers and make the cruise ship look worse than it does. So as a result, they take crew when they can, when it's going to be done under health regimen, and they have, what we've laughingly called COVID jail hotels. They take crew members off and park them in that while they're recovering, and it lowers the number of cases on board. In an internal email sent to the crew, MSC Cruises said that if positive cases continue to rise, the company will restrict crew shore leave and implement additional health and safety measures. The following email was sent to the crew on board the Seaside. Please be informed that unfortunately the number of positive cases on board between the crew is quickly increasing, and until the situation of COVID positivity fleet-wide doesn't reach acceptable levels, the following thresholds must be in place. Starting from today, the access to the guest buffet, restaurants, bars, lounges, areas is being revoked. If cases further rise to 30 positive crew in a week, it will be necessary to revoke also the crew shore leave, and the crew bar will be only for takeaway. As you can notice, the situation is becoming serious, and for this reason, we ask your cooperation for the following. And this was the instructions to the crew on board the Seaside, not company-wide. It's on one ship that are taking steps to get their numbers back in line. Please use your mask properly. Many crew members are not using the mask properly, wearing it under the nose in the crew and guest areas. Wash your hands often, especially before going to eat. Keep the social distancing required by protocol. Respect the maximum capacity of people inside the elevator. Respect the maximum capacity of people inside the crew areas like the gym, the bar, and the smoking area. MSC Seaside is currently sailing 7 light Western Mediterranean voyages. So that's what's going on with the Seaside. So they're trying to get the numbers for crew back in line so it doesn't affect the overall performance of the ship and require changes made shipwide. ThyssenKrupp Marine Systems, TKMS, it's known as the short term, has acquired the Wismar site of MV Werften at an undisclosed price, ending the building of passenger ships inside that town for almost 70 years. TKMS will attempt to convert Wismar site into a shipyard specializing in the construction of submarines and potentially even naval surface vessels. The yard began making passenger ships shortly after the Second World War under the socialist economic system of the German Democratic Republic. Ocean-going passenger ships followed in the late 50s, including cruise and maritime voyages Marco Polo, which sailed worldwide for 55 years before being scrapped during the pandemic. The fate of the unfinished Global Dream, currently docked at MV Werften's Wismar compound, is still unclear. Though unlikely, Global One may still be completed at Wismar, provided it has a buyer soon. A more likely scenario is that the vessel is prepared for towage locally and then transferred to another yard for completion. Another option is just to scrap the ship in its unfinished condition. And that's still on the table if no buyer emerges. As it currently stands, the ship has to be removed from the yard during 2023 at the latest in order to prepare the yard for naval shipbuilding, scheduled to start in 2024. So that's it for news this morning, folks. Again, my apologies that this program is not live as is normally done daily. So we can't jump over to the chat room. This program was pre-recorded as I am with my oncologist as this is going on. If there's any major news from the oncologist today, I'll probably do something later on in the day today. If not, I'm sure we'll chat about whatever results I get tomorrow morning on Travel and Cruise Industry News, which will be live at 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So make sure you join me then. Thanks for watching, folks, and we'll see you next time. This is the Old Fat Travel Guy. Have a fabulous day. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, think about cruising, and hopefully one day soon we'll all meet on the high seas. Later, y'all.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry, so if you'd like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.